Hey, good morning, and thank you for joining B2B Sales and Marketing Friday Talks. As every second Friday, we share insights, best practices, and anecdotes from technology companies. And this time, we have a big pleasure welcoming Maria Berger, Head of Marketing at DEAS. Welcome, Maria.
Welcome. Hello, everyone. Hello, Andres. Hello, Roland.
Thank you for joining. And this time we going to discuss about the differentiation challenge in the businesses like data center and similar to that. And why so? Because we see that one of the very common challenge in the IT sector is that the competition is rapidly growing in many areas of the IT sector. And for companies, it's becoming more difficult to actually find their place and to keep not only existing customers, but also to win the new ones. And the data center business is an excellent example where we see globally there are just a few like hyperscalers which are dominating the market, but nevertheless, there are companies like DEAS which successfully continue growing and expanding their business. And maybe before we start digging deeper into how, Maria, could you just maybe help us to understand what are the latest trends and developments on the data center marketplace?
Yeah, sure. As everyone has seen during the COVID-19 pandemic, the digitalization and has gone up, and hence has gone up the requirements for the data centers, because basically where we process all of the data are in the clouds or in data centers, speaking about the infrastructure where the clouds are located. So we've seen rising demand for the data center capacities, for the power consumption also, and there is always a room for the players like we are. We are more, let's say, a regional player, not like the global providers who are worldwide. But then assuming that your business is located in this region, or you have branches, or you have users here. So you kind of, this is the principle of the edge computing as well, when you process the data closer. And it means that, there is a requirement for the regional players who are located in the Baltics, like we are. And if the business demands such capacities here in this region, then we are here.
Maria, but is it correctly for me to assume that one source of competitive advantage for you indeed is location and also managing capacity? Because as I understand that so far, at least for hyperscalers like AWS, Microsoft, Google, they haven't really placed their data centers in Baltics. The closest I know they are, I think, is in Helsinki, also in Poland. And this leads me to believe that perhaps just structurally Baltics market is too small, which means that you actually have against them competitive advantages because market is too small. However, market is exactly right size for you. Is it the case?
It is also the case, you're right, because they're coming to the markets where they see a larger scale. But then at the same time, if they have the interest in, they can also rent and use our services, rent the space in our infrastructure, and not invest, building their own infrastructure. So this is the case also that we are building, for example, right now, also the third data center in Latvia. For the growing needs of these capacities of the data center, of the power. The new one will be the 10 megawatt data center. So it is also the right size for our market. So it is not that we need that much more than it would be in some other region, maybe.
Yeah. And in this light, what you just explained, do you see how the change, how the needs and requirements from the client side have changed since, like, these big players entered the market and pandemics and the growth for the let's say overall data center services? Is it anyhow changing nowadays? What customers requires more? What they expect?
It's obviously changing because the economical and all of the environment is, like, let's say, turbulent, and of course the customers also look at the costs and their costs, and we need to be still affordable. I can't say we're going the way that we want to be, like, cheap, but we always do the way that we provide the value more than let's say someone else's. We're also have this policy of being transparent, no hidden costs. Like, the global providers often have these, like, of course they have this internet speed, and then for example the outgoing traffic is is tarified, and that means at the end of the month your bill is going to rise up, but we are not doing that. We are offering unlimited traffic. So those are nuances basically, but still we are more about being transparent, showing clearly what will be, and then the customers also can predict their expenses. They can understand that we provide some certain value additional, which are additional services or like enhanced features of some products. Like we have, for example, the new MyDF platform, which is more of an e-commerce type of platform, where we have analyzed what the global providers have and enhanced that, and providing some features like own backup policies or etc. So like something that the users probably were missing there in those global service providers services in their platforms.
What is interesting, what I hear from you is that on one hand, customers are looking for lowering costs and things like that. But what you did a very smart way, so that you basically not going just direct price war and providing the cheaper prices for main services, but you rather going the way that you say, hey, there is a better way of managing costs, right? So you're basically helping those customers see what they pay for through this transparent approach. You give them some tools to manage costs better. That is right assumption, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. Also, if we say, let's say, about such services as backup, for example, we insist for the customers to really choose that service because we understand that in case of downtime, there'll be probably some losses for their business. And then we really try to make them understand that it's really wise to take this service. Otherwise, for example, if their e-commerce stops, then they're losing much more much more money, and that means that's the much bigger losses. So we are kind of putting it also like a request, and then if the customer doesn't want, but then they understand the risks. It also depends on the size of the business. It depends on the customer. It's let's say for the smaller businesses, it's often the case of the costs more. But for larger enterprises, of course, they understand, they calculate their own risks, and so they understand why they need these additional security services as well.
Yeah, and the second part is of your differentiation. If I understood right, it's more adding like those specialized services, as you said, like for the e-commerce or similar. Correct?
Yeah, I would say we are like we are currently in a very like I would say high development phase. We're developing several projects simultaneously. Let's say it's the new data center that we are going because we see the growing demand for the capacities. On the other hand, we are going to the e-commerce side, which is more like let's say not a very typical side of us, because we used to be more like B2B type of particular business and more working with our core services. We are still working more, let's say, from mid to large enterprises with our enterprise type of services, like clouds, VMware clouds, etc. And then this e-commerce business is more like, let's say, B2C, even though we have also some future plans for it to expand the portfolio of the services. But currently, it's more of, let's say, you can buy their virtual servers, which is more like the cheaper price segment, which is more like interesting for the SMBs. So it's and it's also this change of approach, because we see that we can do it more like automated without involving salespeople. So that takes so that salespeople can really work on those services where we can get more value for the customers and more like enterprise type of services.
Yeah. Okay. And how all this has changed the way how do you execute your marketing, if I may ask? So do you see that changing much, and in what direction?
I would say we are changing a lot because of changing our strategies, looking and reviewing them also all the time. Because basically, all of the strategies and plans, and it's not like a static thing. You need to really work on that, like regularly reevaluate what's going on. And of course, considering the fact that we are changing the markets, we are going to some new markets, and then we see that we need also we have this new product like ibd, and we see that we need to focus more on building this awareness. Because of course in the new markets they don't know us yet, and with the new products they don't know about them yet, because also that's a different type of customer segment, different customers. For example, for ibd, we see that it's more like developers who are interested in our so it's different use case. If with enterprise products we're focusing more like on enterprise and working with the decision makers like CTOs and business owners, then for ibd it's completely different audience, and then you have to understand that you need to do it different way through different channels, so it's obviously you have to adapt your strategy and change that. But at the same time, of course, it's not just about the building awareness. We still need to go through all of the customer journey and understand that at the end of the day, we need those leads, we need those signups, and of course, that's somehow in the marketing. Somehow all the time you need to balance between the two, and because we need the
but
business.
I assume also
well.
because of this new segments what you are trying to grow on, like SMBs you mentioned, almost like a B2C type of business, it requires quite a different approach from what you have to in the past, like pure B2B sales with long sales cycle, more like one-on-one engagement and stuff like that. So I think both, not only from the technology side, what you said, like to have more automated services, self-service type of approach. On the marketing side, probably it also requires quite a different way of reaching out this audience, nurturing them, converting them at big scale.
Yeah. That's correct, because obviously what we are also doing is constantly evaluating what our competitors doing, somehow seeing how we can improve. We are collecting some feedback from the customers as well, so from the users, let's say, of the platform, and so that we understand how we can improve our user experience there. We are closely working with the product managers, and so it's a big teamwork for sure, and with the developers of the platform, because it's an in-house platform developed. So we have an R&D department, which is basically the driver for this platform, for this innovation process that we have in the company. And I would say that in the future, when we will have even more services adding there, which are we are currently working on bare metal services to add to the portfolio, hopefully by the end of this year. And then for the next year, there are even more services, which are let's say more like, I can't say they're completely unique, but let's say on the market that less competitors who provide such type of service, and then it means it's again for the marketing it's very beneficial, because then we can really position and like make very unique offer. Okay, not very unique, but let's say it will be way easier to market that product as well. So and yeah, that grows also this all of the automatic process that we can enhance.
Maria, I wanted to ask you, I noticed that there was quite a big campaign, and I know that you moved to renewable energy, and even your generators, in case of power failure, are powered by green diesel. So basically, you are not, I understand you are not emitting CO2. Can you talk about how was that received by market, and did it help to land some new business? Because as far as I understand, companies, particularly larger, are increasingly regulated. They need to prepare their own, impact on environment statements and so on. And obviously, one way to reduce CO2 impact is move your workloads somewhere where they are CO2 neutral. How did that work for you?
I would say for the export markets, it's a more benefit. In our markets, still, but the trend is really going up, and I would say we were among the first to be really green. We are sourcing 100% renewable energy. Our data centers are sourced from the northern wind farms. And also, yeah, as you mentioned, the diesel generators are using Nestami renewable diesel. So that's basically also and that's just part of our actions. There are a lot of small steps that we are doing, like green initiatives. We are enhancing our hot and cold isles in the data center, and etc. Changing chillers to more energy efficient, and etc. So there are lots of smaller steps that we are bringing. But I would say for the customers, it's really becoming worldwide. The trend is that it's really becoming important nowadays. It's not anymore like it was before. We are understanding the environmental impact that we are bringing to the nature, and everybody starts to really evaluate if this partner is like with the same values, and that helps, because there are companies turning to us, because obviously if they would make their own data center or store their servers, that's first of all, the cost wise, it requires a lot of investment, but then at the same time they understand that maybe they're generating more impact on the environment, and then it's sometimes really better to switch to the data center and rent their space there. First of all, cost-wise, it's more beneficial, and then secondly, then they understand that also the data center is already using the green, let's say, technologies, and that's a benefit for them as well, because they're also becoming, let's say, greener using the partner who has the same values and the same approach. I hope I answered the question.
You certainly did, yes. And it's interesting to see. So basically, as part of your kind of differentiation strategy, you have very different components. On one hand, this is like really how you can bring more value, and at the same time addressing those needs for cost reduction and cost optimization part through some like transparency, through more predictable services, through better kind of access to information of what customers are paying for and managing those costs. That's one part, without direct like a price reduction to compete on just price alone, right? That's interesting. I think what others can learn from you. Then the second part, what I heard from you, is that innovation, and that is where you go even further, like, and bring on the market services which can kind of specialized, designed for some specific scenarios, high value type of scenarios. And then third one, from what you just explained, it's about how to really become a partner who can help also customers meet those environmental requirements and be kind of environment friendly, if you like, in that sense, from your company and brand positioning perspective. Is there anything else to those three elements, or those are main pillars you are currently building on?
I would say also anyways, there's always the security topic, because the data center is obviously about the security.
Yes.
and customers are really concerned about where they store their data, and considering all of the privacy laws that we have, and etc. So that's also a topic. So this is a kind of, let's say we're building a brand around a bundle of values. So that's obviously the sustainability, that's the security, that's also this transparency, if we are saying about more cost-wise. So yeah, that's a bundle that we're offering, and we see that it helps us to differentiate from others. And it's also that now that we are like part of the group, we see that we are building a stronger presence, because it's also about being able to make our portfolio wider. Because if we say about the Lithuanian company, then they are stronger more on data transmission services, which adds to us also a benefit that we can combine and provide. We're really becoming a stronger player on the Baltic market, because we have wider possibilities and options of how to serve our customers, and because basically we have this Baltic highway, which is from Tallinn till Frankfurt, so they can really connect and not just store the data, but also transfer the data very quick.
Yeah, so it's important indeed. Yeah, and if you look from the marketing again execution perspective, could you share maybe some really successful tactics or initiatives? Would you say, hey, during this big time of changes, what you are going through now, that really has been like giving us a good result. So that has been working, and maybe something what you have tried and you recognize that was not worth doing that. Are there any things what you could maybe share as an example?
Okay, let's start with the things that helped us. I think understanding that's let's say that's not part of just marketing, but the company as a whole, of changing this also the mindset of the company inside and outside. So it's basically we need to somehow be very, the modern term, the agile, be flexible to adapt constantly to the situation, to the changing situation. And also, that requires involvement of many departments. It's not just about marketing, obviously, because we see this product development. We work closely with the product managers, with R&Ds, and then that's a big teamwork, obviously. And also these several companies, then you have these internal connections, and then there is also this change of mindset in the customers' minds, because obviously we used to be seen as different kind of player. We were working on different markets, and things we change, we adapt, and then we also need to communicate that to the audience, and maybe change also their mindset that we are not anymore as we used to be. So that's also from this communication side. That's obviously maybe what is giving us this bigger push. Then we can as a team be more successful and move forward. Speaking about the challenges, I would say that maybe understanding you can't really focus on everything, because you really have to have this focus, and then understanding it and clarifying, and a bit of kind of because we can't do any and every service, IT service in the world. We need to understand that we should really focus on certain things, because there are obviously things that are generating more value from us. For example, I don't know, we are more like experts in private cloud solutions, and we see that as our strong point, that we can build these custom tailor-made solutions for the customers as well. So then we also, each and every service, we evaluate if that's bringing us and the customers the value, and then we understand if that's part of our portfolio.
Yes.
And also price revisions, understanding where we are against the competition and everything, that also helps a lot, because obviously how to bundle that, how to make it easier for the customers as well through their user journey, like not making it too difficult. And yeah, there's a lot of components, to work on, but I would say it's not about the restructuring, but going deeper through that journey and understanding where you can enhance, improve each and every step.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Those are very, very valuable, and I think absolutely necessary things nowadays. There's the mindset and the culture, probably, to really navigate successfully through those changes, and not only navigate, but also to build on this change, right? As an opportunity. And secondly, it's about reflecting on what is happening, and using this again for as an input for those changes, as you said, like revising the pricing and timely responding to those changes on the market, and looking at how you can bring even more value, and still staying very focused, because I think that's one of the probably very common challenges we also see all around, is that companies try to do everything, to capture all possible opportunity, and going after all possible things on the market, while it's much better stay focused, as you mentioned, on and build on those strong competencies what you already have, and enhance them further. That's great. And maybe last thing what I would like to ask you before we conclude our conversation today is, how do you see the role of marketing, consider all these changes what are happening with the rise of the artificial intelligence, with the rise of the digital more and more, and in general in changes of behavior of the customers? How do you see the marketing moving forward?
I would say currently we're like the drivers of some change inside, if we speak specifically about us in the organization.
Yes.
So it's the driver of change of some internal processes also, and and I would say it's in general, the marketing is like considering how much the digitalization has we've seen with the remote work and everything. So we're not living anymore like we used to work. We are living really in a hybrid world where we interact not just live, but we interact through digital communication, and connecting those points and understanding how we interact also with the customer. Because obviously we understand that still live communication is beneficial, and and especially after the remote work world, everybody was lacking that. So kind of, balancing all of these and understanding through the digital communication how we can, make more personalized and still relevant for the specific customer and what they want to hear, not like see and not just any offer. And so this is kind of balancing between this digital and real world, and in this customer communication, I would say, and also in internal communications. That's very important, I think, to drive this change. And marketing is, I think, the driver of the change. I mean, it's constantly changing. Of course, the artificial intelligence is introducing, and some are worrying that it will take their work out. But at the same time, we need to understand how it can help us, how it can benefit, and build on that.
glad to hear that you are not afraid of artificial intelligence taking your job. And I would like just to thank you very much for everything you shared today. It was highly valuable, I think, not only for us with Roland, but also hopefully for the audience, because there are things what probably almost every business in the IT industry can apply from what you just shared with us. And I just wish you great success in this transition and in this time of changes in that and in your team. And we will be following the company development and hopefully to have you again back with some success stories or maybe other stories sharing with us and the audience. Thanks again for coming and being with us this Friday. And
Thank you.
yeah, for others, I just wanted to remind that, hey guys, if you like the content we are sharing with you, you always can follow IBD Consulting on LinkedIn or using hashtag FryTalks. Find all the related content from the previous episodes and many more. We also have those episodes available as the podcast. Just check out your favorite podcast platform and you definitely will find us there. So B2B Sales and Marketing FryTalks, that is what you need to search for. And we have a YouTube channel where we have not only those podcast recordings, but we also have webinars where we go much deeper into topics like strategy, execution, technologies, everything related to sales and marketing in B2B. If you have any questions or any feedback, we also very, very open and keen to learn how we can make our contribution even more interesting and valuable for you. Thanks for being with us this Friday. We also wish you a great success in everything you do. And then we talk again in 2 weeks. Stay tuned.
Thank you for inviting.